And as I lay there with closed eyes, I beheld the flitting ghosts of many a dead day, with all its troops of glad and bitter memories. Then suddenly it seemed that I was no longer myself, for so deep and perfect was the blending that I had not merely an insurmountable assurance that my body contained, for the time being, two complete souls, but even the very thoughts, modes of expression, and memory of the departed one were mine. And yet this possession did not for an instant subvert my own individuality. I was there, and so was she. For the time being, we two were not merely as one, but to all intents and purposes were one. Arising from the recumbent position, my body assumed certain singularities of movement peculiar to her before she flew up to her home in the bright Empyrean, and these words were spoken: "The experiences and history of a soul must be written for the benefit of the people. We intend to write it. A book shall be produced containing the facts of a living, dying, dead, and transfigured human being, contain the reasons why men live after death and the methods of which their life and being. This book shall contain an account of the experience of two human beings. The one, while temporarily disenthralled, the other, when permanently so, shall contain the experience of Cynthia during her passage from earth to the grave of the earthly hope and being, and a history of what befell thereafter." These were the spoken words. Once more I reassumed my personality and attended to the affairs of the busy world. In other days the promises were kept, and this first book was written. Nothing further need to be said by way of introduction to what follows, further than to observe the certain soul experiences related to the second part were mine. While the reasonings are not wholly original, perhaps, yet I do not know that they are not such, seeing that I never saw anything like them on earth before, albeit others have thought in the same direction. Wherever in this book the views of the writers are presented, they are given as such with name and fame. The rest is wholly mine. Cynthia, the soul world. I propose to say nothing whatever concerning my life as a Dinsian of the outside world, of my existence or career while clothed with the garments of mortality. It is my death that I first wish to speak, and of what took place thereafter, of where and how I found myself as soon as the icy hand of death had touched my heart and frozen up my vitals. While with my friends from whom the change separated me, I was, so far as frail mortals in my condition of bodily health can be, quite happily and contented to endure with all possible patience that for which there was no remedy. And, all things considered, satisfied I lived, and in the self-same spirit died. Died? No! I am not dead. Bodies change, souls can never die. Why? For the reason that God, whom, like human beings, is intelligent and immortal, can himself never blot it out of being. He is mind, memory, love, and will, not one of them which can ever perish, and these beings the attribute of man likewise. It follows that, so long as he exists, we must also. In the year 1854, being ill of consumption, the person, an account of whose experience is given in these pages, although long previously somewhat familiar with, began to take an especial interest in the great subject of hereafter, as revealed by what purported to be the spirits of departed men and women, and then, for the first time, as death's cold presence sensibly approached me far off, the sense of going being to quicken in my being, I commenced seriously to speculate concerning immortality, and to pay greater heed to the alleged revelations from the mysterious beyond. By and by, consumption so wasted me that I grew tired, and finally a mist came before my eyes and shut out the fields, the forest, the faces of my friends, none dearer whom were ever collapsed to the affection warm heart. And so I slept, but woke again from out the strange, deep sleep called death. The awakening was very strange, was such as I had never imagined to be possible. Where am I? Asked myself, by that very self. Not mine, but a lower, sweeter, more musical voice, soft and dulcet as the tinkle of the love bell, answered me from out of the veil of the rosy light and hung between me and whatever was beyond. In the divine city of free souls, the land of the immortal, but not eternal rest. I felt I knew that I was dead. As the sense of these words struck upon my soul, where this voice came and seemed very strange to me for the reason, amongst others, I had, to a certain extent, familiarized myself with physics, and knew that the sounds were supposed to be the results of certain aerial vibrations. Now, supposing this theory to be correct, it struck me that I, a disembodied soul, ought not to be competent to discern sounds, for there was no tympanum to receive, auditory nerves to conduct, nor external ear to collect these waves of sound. It seemed to me that one of the two prevalent theories must be false. Either sound is not material, or that the spirit of a human being is, for I had not the shadow of a doubt that I really was and forever an inhabitant of the soul world. If sounds are material, how was it possible for me to hear them, being a spirit? If a spirit is but a refined form of matter, then the notion of its internal durability is a false one, and there must come a period when it, too, like the body, must dissolve away.